Imagine your quiet Alaskan neighborhood disrupted by some of the most dangerous criminals that are set loose after a plane crash. This is the premise for The Last Frontier on Apple. This is my type of show. It's gritty and has heart. And the shows that are premiering on Apple are the new bar, the new standard. They're top tier. The first 15 minutes of the pilot are extremely tense and gut-wrenching. I was not only stressed the whole time, but I was crying. The first episode of The Last Frontier opens on a mysterious terminal pickup, where there's a masked convict who needs extra security, who gets loaded onto a co-ed plane of prisoners. Some of these prisoners include familiar faces like Johnny Knoxville, and after the plane brutally crashes, it lands in Fairbanks, Alaska. As some of the survivors start to disperse, the town's marshal is thrust into action, and numerous dangerous prisoners are set loose near the city. We learn that there is a special prisoner on this plane, referred to as Havelock, who the CIA is trying to track down. CIA agent Sidney Schofield has to partner with local law, which is Marshal Remnick. Frank Remnick at this point is a little more used to his slower pace of life, but once this problem literally lands in his backyard, he's called to action again. He's able to immediately suss out that everything is not as it seems. He questions Sidney as to why they went against protocol by picking up this prisoner. This plane is referred to as a JPAT plane, which stands for Justice Prisoner Alien Transportation. These planes transfer federal inmates across the country for various court dates and trials. And the JPAT plane had up to 100 detainees. Not all of them survived, but at least 18 are missing. When Frank and Sidney eventually meet, his main question is why they're using a JPAT plane, because now the CIA and multiple agencies are involved. Throughout the episode, tensions rise. Remnick's son is loose and exposed, unaware of what's going on. Despite Frank's goal to eventually settle into a quieter life and move into the cabin with his family, he is fiercely passionate about the oath that he took to protect his people, and he takes that oath very seriously, which will eventually put him at odds with Sidney and her hidden agenda. To Sarah, Frank's wife, it's a question of at what cost to him and his family, as it's clear that they've already recovered from some trauma in the past, and Frank has the battle scars to prove it. Sarah works at the hospital. As Frank begins to press for answers, we learn that there was a mole in the CIA. Someone who was selling secrets as a campaign against the American government. This covert op was referred to as the Atwater Protocol, and the man in question is Levi Taylor Hartman, whose codename is Havelock, and he's been trained to become a deadly weapon. He used intel as bait to essentially lure out and dispatch his targets. But once he disappeared, taking the intel with him, he became a problem, where everyone else is left wondering how he was able to jailbreak from 30,000 feet in the air. Sarah, of course, is concerned how this will consume Frank, as the people around them that they're close to are starting to die. Later in the episode, there is a radio signal that is detected, and they assume that it's Havelock. This man faces off with the FBI and holds the owner of the cabin hostage. And during this tense standoff, we start to see how Schofield and Remnick are going to be at odds. Remnick is trying to reason with him to let go of the hostage and bring him in alive, whereas Schofield is encouraging him to shoot him then and there. She goes on to take matters into her own hands and releases a dog. And this dog attacks him, which releases the hostage, where we learn that this man is actually not Havelock. This is Havelock. And the fact that Havelock is still on the loose is a big plot twist, because we learn that this man has assumed the identity of a marshal and has been under the care of Remnick's wife at the hospital. Schofield is able to reason that one of the supposed inmates is not who he seems, and she reviews the crew files. Remnick starts to piece things together and realize that he's talked to this man, and Havelock has already been operating under their noses. He manages to take out the power and broadcasts an announcement specifically for Frank, reminding him that he has his wife hostage. So they therefore must work together. The end of the pilot has Schofield and Remnick at odds, because we learned that Sidney Schofield is really there to protect herself. She's under fire because the CIA believes that she's been working with Havelock. So in order to prove her own innocence, she needs to bring Havelock in alive so that they can execute him. Frank Remnick has been a marshal for 18 years. And as he discusses with his friend Donnie at the beginning, a marshal's dream is to simply survive and go back to their family. But after all hell breaks loose in his backyard, the end of the episode leaves us with the question of whether or not he'll be able to achieve that dream. His son is missing, his wife is held hostage, and the only person with external knowledge is working for herself. The town that he's sworn to protect is in danger. The show introduces a lot with these government conspiracies, but the root of what makes this show so thrilling is the motivation of this single man sworn to protect those that he loves. And the unique setting of a brutal Alaskan backdrop makes this really interesting, because danger seems to be everywhere you look.